Welcome back to AFTV. Arsenal play on Monday night. A trip to Sheffield United. It's been 6 wins in a row in the Premier League. Can we make it 7? But of course, slip-ups against Porto and Liverpool at the very start of the season make us a little wary of what's to come. But we know that Sheffield United are a team that's struggling. What could they throw at Arsenal? Can we build momentum? I'm here with the third best brother partnership on YouTube.
Third best? What's the best?
Yeah. Well, I've got Ranson X, top one.
Right.
And then Lee and Julian, obviously. They're up there now. No? I'll let you all fight out in the comments between that.
Julian. For anybody, by the way, who've not seen the Invincible podcast with Julian taking out his medals, right? It's the funniest thing you will ever see. You have to watch that, right? Yeah. Invincible podcast. Big up Julian.
Now, can I say I can vouch for that, okay? Because I've watched it back time and time again. For anyone who doesn't know, he was challenged. He's always talking about what a great footballer he is, Julian. He's got a lot to say on the game. You brought him in. He said, "Show us your medals." Just watch it. Just watch it.
I've also got one on you, right?
What did I say?
No. The story you told me earlier of you going to the London Football Awards. Right, and you say what happens.
So, FT very kindly let me go to the London Football Awards. Good event. We saw Declan Rice speak. Fantastic. Congratulations to him on the London Player of the Year. And by the way, for anyone who saw West Ham fans getting upset about this, the awards are for this season only, which I didn't realise. I thought it was the calendar year 2023. So he was asked about his best moment, and he said the goal against Man United. And West Ham fans got upset. He didn't mention the Conference League, but it's just for this season. So we cleared that up. So anyway, I'm with our lovely colleagues, Jack and Andrew, and I'm thinking I'll make my way out. Now, we were in an area where sometimes players pass. We saw Cole Palmer. I went to the bathroom just before leaving. I walk out, and Edu stood right there, just taking pictures, just being lovely as he is. And we've met him before in LA, and I've spoken to him, cool guy. But I bottled it. I didn't say anything. I should have said something. Just, "Hey Edu, how are we?" Whatever. And do you think that's bad enough? At least you could put that down as I'm leaving to his night, whatever, he's on his way out. I walk at the bottom of the stairs and Declan Rice has just walked past and Jack and Andrew are like, "Where have you been? We just got a picture."
And you went to the toilet. But, these things happen.
Can you believe it? My chance to say hi to Eddie and get a picture of Declan Rice.
And Declan Rice in particular,
But congratulations to him.
You might see him again in a few years.
Well, I take it you assess and go to next year's awards then. But look, we hope Declan Rice gets another big performance against Sheffield United because we're now in that stage of the season where every point matters, every result matters. I want to give you guys, I was doing some research.
Every goal matters.
Yeah, every point, every goal. You're absolutely right. Let me give you some research I did on something, And this, I want to make this make as much sense as possible. So I looked at Man City and Liverpool in title races, where they were in one against each other in the 18-19 season. A couple of years after that, and then last season City were in one against us. So in the last 10 games of every title race they've been in, so that's 5 altogether. So that's the last 50 games. They have between them won 44 of them, drawn 6. And lost none. So in the last 10 games of title run-ins, these two lock in like you wouldn't believe. That's what we're up against, and that's why Sheffield United, who with all due respect are 20th in the league, 20th for goals scored, 20th for goals conceded, and have conceded 5 goals in 5 different games this season. That's why this feels like a massive game. We should win, but we know there's no room for error.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was going to say that you're often come across that phrase, there are no easy games in the Premier League. And, for the most part, that is true. But then there's also the corollary to that is that the Premier League doesn't lie. And you've just mentioned one of the stats that I was going to mention. Sheffield United, bottom of the table, picking up 5-0 thrashings. I think they've also had 8 put past them, haven't they? By Newcastle. So logic would dictate that this game should be one that Arsenal should win and win with something to spare. That being said, we know that things can happen in the Premier League, but I would say this is as good as a sure bet as you're going to get.
Are you feeling that way, Robbie?
You were away from home. So anytime you're away from home, it's a much more difficult game. Teams can... I think we already know what Sheffield United will probably try and do. They'll probably try and go with a low block, try and frustrate Arsenal, and hold out and try and catch us on the counter attack. So that's what we're going to be up against, and we're away from home. I've been to Sheffield United a few times. There's always a great atmosphere there. However, the one thing I would say, if this game was earlier on in the season, you're a little bit more worried. I think at this time, even though there's so much on it, they're in such a bad position that if they say it's the other way around for them as well, they concede one, then their fans, their heads drop, their players' heads drop, and they just think to themselves, well, we're just in for a long night. So if Arsenal go out there and play like they have been playing in the last few games, Newcastle, where they were on the front foot, straight at it, Burnley, they did the same thing, West Ham, if they do that, I'm very confident that Arsenal will win the game. It's just a matter of not getting complacent. But I think this time of the season, I don't think Arsenal are going to get complacent. Not the way we've been playing. Because the only game I've seen really in recent games where we did that was when we played Fulham, where I thought, we were very slow and lethargic that night. But I just don't think, we haven't played for a week. We had that great game against Newcastle.
Was there a touch of complacency against Porto?
Porto for me a completely different.
Was that an aberration?
No, Porto for me, it's not necessarily an aberration. I just think a completely different game because when I was at that game, watching it, I kept thinking to myself, Arsenal are here just with an attitude of let's not lose this game. And that's not really how we've been playing in all the Premier League games. We've been like, we've come here to win. And that's the big difference. You saw it then when we played Newcastle now, that it was a different attitude. The attitude was right, we're going to win and we're going to stick it on them.
Maybe it was the fans. I picked up a touch of definitely picked up some complacency amongst the fans.
Yeah, there'll be complacency amongst fans thinking, we're going to win the game. I don't think it's complacent to say we're going to beat Sheffield United. But I think if Arsenal go there and do what they've been doing over the last, since they came back from Dubai, they should win.
And we got to mention as well, in those 5-0 thrashings, of course, Arsenal was one of those teams that put 5 on Sheffield United. A certain Eddie Nketiah enjoyed himself at there as well. Yeah. So he'll probably be looking forward to this game.
If he gets on.
Yeah, very true. Well, some players that could be seeing some time on the pitch. Let me just give you Arsenal's injury list just a few weeks ago. It was Jurriën Timber, Zinchenko, Tomiyasu, Partey, Jorginho, Smith Rowe, Vieira, and Gabriel Jesus. Now, we've seen Jesus, Vieira, Smith Rowe, Jorginho back in action and back in the squad. Well, maybe not back in action, but back in the squad. Jorginho certainly playing some significant minutes. Partey's back in full training, and Arteta said could well be available for this game. Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, Timber, still more question marks, but Timber's back in full training as well, or near enough full training. So it's a massive jump from where we were just a few weeks ago. Anyone you think could be playing a surprisingly significant part in this game?
Partey, because I'm being told anyway, what I've seen on the net and various other outlets, he looks like he's going to travel.
Yeah, no, Partey's going to be, if you listen to what Arteta said yesterday, he's in the squad for Monday. So I don't think he'll start them. I don't think any of those, I don't think he'll start. I don't think Jesus will start because he spoke a lot about managing his injury. He's fit, ready to go, but we noticed that, what I noticed with that game against Newcastle, even though we were 4 goals up, he didn't bring Jesus on and he didn't bring Fabio Vieira on. So that suggests to me that he's managing both of those, and that's a sensible thing to do. Because we're going to need Jesus in the vital games. I don't think he'll start. I only think he'll come on if he's needed.
Or if we're comfortable in the game.
Yeah, I think Partey could be one of those that if we're comfortable in the game, he brings him on. Because remember, he's been out for a long time. So to me, it's just great that those guys are back and they're knocking on the door and they're chomping at the bit. That bodes well for us in this running because I feel that Arsenal can win the league, but we've got to have everybody fit. We've got to have the options to, in all these games that we got coming up.
Yeah.
And Partey being back, that's huge. That's huge.
I think of it as, Liverpool are going through a total injury crisis, but maybe we're reinvigorated by the Jurgen Klopp news and all that with Man City, the return of Kevin De Bruyne. Now, we don't have a Kevin De Bruyne, but if we can, in multiple positions where we didn't bring anyone in January, if we can make upgrades, a bit like a Formula One car, throughout the season, if you can add those upgrades and suddenly all season, we've not really had Jesus. We've had him a bit, but really not as much as we'd want. Thomas Partey, not at all, apart from the first few games. Timber, 60 minutes at the start. And then Vieira, who was starting to play a big part. Smith Rowe, we know that potential's there. If we can add those upgrades to our car, going with the analogy, then suddenly, with the momentum we've got, it feels like we can really, really speed,
Which is, of course, a bit of a contrast to last season, if you remember. We were on top of the league, going great guns. Then we suffered a couple of injuries back-to-back, notably Saliba, but one or two others as well. And that kind of derailed us a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that now that we're making this title push, or so we think, and you're getting into that real business end of the season, the fact that these guys are on the verge of coming back, that's a great feeling.
I completely agree. Let's build our 11. We're going to do it on the AFTV Plus app, everyone. Download the app by going to, the iOS store, the App Store, whatever it is you use, Android phones as well. We'll do it. We've got it right here in front of us. The amazing AFTV Plus app, as you can see, Monday, 4th of March, Sheffield United versus Arsenal. We've got plenty of match features from the 11 selected player rater. Who was your man of the match versus Newcastle? We're a week on. Got 5 options there.
Jorginho for me.
Yeah.
For me, I gave it to Havertz.
You gave it to Havertz?
And the reason why, he had the goal and the assist. But, we all know that he's been, how can I put it? He's probably been the most...
maligned?
Sorry?
Much maligned?
At times, yeah. He's a polarising figure amongst Arsenal fans. Because as for many fans who say he's not been that good, then you get a lot of fans saying he's been very good, or he's been, instrumental in the good things that we do. So it was nice that pretty much everyone agreed he had a really good game.
Yeah, he was brilliant.
And so probably I leant towards him getting man of the match off the back of that.
Fair enough. And of course, we've got the AFTV merch shop. Go check it out there. Lots of great stuff. Now, we're going to build our 11s. And I think I agree with you, Rob, because we've touched on the players that are returning. But are there any surprises we'll see with this 11? Should we just fill out what we know already, which will be David Raya keeps his place. We imagine Ben White, Saliba. Hopefully there's no nasty scares going into the game. And then Kivior keeps his place. Everyone happy with that?
Yep.
He's playing really well.
Keeps his place. I mean, obviously Tomiyasu and Zinchenko on the way back.
Yeah.
But Kivior, he scored in the last game as well. So his confidence is high. He's doing really, really well.
Did he score? Did they give it to him?
Yeah, I think he got the goal.
I think so.
Yeah, he got the goal. Gabriel didn't get it, but he got it.
So the midfield and the front three gets interesting because in big games, Liverpool at home, Newcastle at home, Arteta's turned to Jorginho and given Rice more of a free role. A Liverpool side differently, but if you want to know about that, check out Tactical Insight. So in the other games, Burnley away, West Ham away, he opted for that Havertz-Trossard combination where basically they were both playing midfield and up front at the same time. They just constantly alternate. So what does he go with here? Do you go with Jorginho, the form he's been in whenever he's been called upon? Or do you go with what's been working against, with all due respect, the teams that aren't the Champions League sides that we are facing?
Yeah, this is a really
difficult, isn't
tricky one for me because, Jorginho, brilliant last week. How do you leave him out? But then if you look at some of the previous games where he has gone with that formation, we've destroyed teams. We Burnley, West Ham, It's like, and when you're playing against a team that's got a low block going on, you've got extra firepower in there by having Trossard and Havertz in there.
Yeah.
And I think I would opt for that option and maybe leave Jorginho out of this one. And he hasn't done anything wrong. No. It's just the fact that, do you need a sort of, well, it wasn't exactly a double pivot, but do you need two sort of holding players there? Put Declan Rice there, he can mop up because they're not, and then,
I must say it's a nice problem for the manager to have. But I do agree with you, actually. I think that if you're against Sheffield United, we pretty much know what they're going to do before the game even starts. I mean, it would be ludicrous for them to do anything else, really. Wouldn't it? So, yeah, I think that probably Trossard will get the nod for me. Jorginho is a more than capable.
The team's looking something like this then. So building out Ødegaard we're agreeing Rice there, Kai Havertz playing in that, essentially midfield role, but we know that it's not. It does a disservice actually quite high up the pitch he plays. Of course, if you want to play around with formations, everyone you can. And we've got them here, you can go 4-4-2, and then maybe get Havertz, if you want to get him in a more advanced position. But essentially, that's what we're looking at with Bukayo Saka. Where is he? There he is. And then you're both saying Trossard and Martinelli keeps his place?
Yep, 100%.
There you go. So that's the team we're going for. It's reverting to what had worked in the last away games.
Yeah, and I just feel that, away from home, that against teams that's been like, the low block teams, that has worked unbelievably well.
Yeah.
6 against West Ham, 5. 11 goals.
Yeah.
In the last 2 away games. So.
Yeah. And Havertz played in midfield in the Palace win, the 5-0 win at home as well.
Yeah.
So the only difference there was Jesus was up front with Trossard on the left. So, you know.
Yeah, and
again,
it just is to me, like, for a team that doesn't have an out-and-out striker, it's just like there's so many goal options when I look at that. So, Rice can pop up with a goal. Odegaard, we know, can score from midfield. Havertz has been scoring. And then that front three, they all can score goals. So the more goal scorers you've got on the pitch, the more likely you are to score goals. You know what I mean? Especially when we lack that out-and-out striker. Jorginho, brilliant last week, but I understand, it's Newcastle. We need a bit more control in that midfield. We know, if they get it up to Isak a lot, we're in trouble. You know what I mean? So he was brilliant, but I like that team.
Yeah, fair enough. I know you agree as well, Laura.
Yeah, listen, that team is more than capable of getting the job done. In fact, I'll be extremely surprised if it doesn't. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, let's run through it then one more time. David Raya in goal with White, Saliba, Gabriel and Kiwior. The back four has been doing really, really well in the absence of many defenders, actually. Odegaard, Rice and Havertz restored to the midfield with Jorginho dropping to the bench. Saka, Trossard back into the 11 and Martinelli as well. But like we've mentioned, we could be seeing a lot of players back. Jesus, Vieira, Smith Rowe, they have been in the squad in recent weeks. Thomas Partey has been confirmed to travel by Mikel Arteta. I think it was confirmed, wasn't he? He said he will go up with him,
That's going to be a strong bench.
Yeah, we know Jurriën Timber's been playing. He had the welcome back on Twitter. It's just Tomiyasu and Zinchenko we expect to have back. So March has started well with a fully fit squad. Let's keep it that way. I'm touching this Arsenal wooded underground sign because we're going to need it. We're going to need, like you said, a fully fit squad to get it done and get the title race over the line. Declan Rice said at the Football London Awards, 13 games to go, and he said, we really hope there's something at the end of it. We all hope as well. Score prediction, Laurie.
Well, we've been scoring so many goals, and Sheffield United have been letting so many in recently that, without wishing to sound any way condescending or disrespectful to Sheffield United, but I'm going to predict that we're going to win this by at least 2 clear goals. Okay. So 3-4-0, 1, yeah.
I think I'm going to go 2-0, right? But I think if Arsenal turn up, we beat them 5-0 at home. And when you read out those stats, 20th in the league, 20th in goals conceded, 20th in goals scored, that's not good for them. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal hit like a 4 in this game. You know what I mean? What I like about Arsenal at the moment, it's a bit like how City have been over the years, is that they're very ruthless. It's not like get a couple of goals and just sit back there. They're going for the kill right now. You know what I mean? So
as I was saying to James earlier, every game, every goal counts now. Yeah, every result.
And they are
it could well come down to the last day. Goal difference could be a big factor.
They're going for the jugular. So I'll go conservative 2-0, but I fancy a 4.
All right.
We're all trying to keep the lid on being, and I'm conscious of that because I don't want to disrespect Sheffield United.
Football's a funny sport, man.
It is.
Someone can just pop in from the halfway.
But you've got to be honest and say the way we're playing right now, and you contrast that with the way they're playing, the fact that we've got something really tangible to go for as well, I can't see anything other than a resounding Arsenal win. And I would go as far as to say that if we don't beat Sheffield United, then really, do we deserve to call ourselves title contenders?
Interesting. I want to go for a 2-1 Arsenal win. I can't remember what I said on Friday. It was either 2-1 or 1-0. But there we go. Everyone, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet to be kept up to date with all the previews and everything coming out around the game. Of course, it's a Monday night game, so we'll be live reacting to every kick of the ball on Monday night. Robbie will be there doing the trip with Lee and Julian. Like we said, go check out the brilliant content from the Invincible podcast. Julian has quite the trophy cabinet to show off. Big thanks to you all. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you all very soon.